Hi guys and gals, Kianabali. Today we're gonna talk about pull-up, a great exercise for developing your back with the strength, with the stability, and with hypertrophy or muscle size. Now, I've got a band also here with myself. I'm gonna show you how to position yourself and do it with the band as well. The band is gonna help you in the hard part, and it's just gonna release all the help when you come up. So when you're stronger, you do not have any help, but when you come down all the way, it's gonna assist you in coming up. Anyway, we're gonna go through that. I'm gonna go through the variations, tell you how you should position yourself, and also about the safety factors when it comes to this exercise. First, I'm just gonna do the exercise, and then I'm gonna go through the details and tell you why I position myself in this way. Now let's see it from the side. Good. Now I did two variations, and as I said, there are a lot of variations, but the biggest mistake when it comes to doing pull-ups is the way people position their legs. And a lot of people think that because their legs are not on the ground, they're not doing any action, so they're not important in this exercise. But believe me, the most important thing in this exercise is your legs, because it's gonna determine everything else, from the angle of your body to the muscles that are gonna be used during the activity. Now, this is how I see most people position their legs, so both legs back. You see, the ab, everybody knows that helps with the stability and balance. So when you bring the leg back, you're just deactivating the ab. It's really hard to activate the ab when your leg is like this. So you're deactivating the ab. It's gonna make you move around a lot because you do not have the stability. And aside from that, when the leg is all the way back, your back feels tight. So it is already tight. And when you do the exercise, you might feel that it is just really uncomfortable, and you might not be able to fully use the muscle in the best possible way. Some people even get cramps from this. I actually believe that a lot of people who say that they cannot do pull-ups, they can. But because of that lack of stability that's related to the abs, all that energy that they're producing to bring themselves up is just getting wasted by going to the side and just shivering your body when you're doing the exercise. So because of that, I always advise people to bring the leg a little bit forward. And what it does is, you can feel it instantly that when you bring the leg up, this area is getting more activated. And by using the ab, you are placing yourself in a more powerful way. You're gonna be more explosive. The energy waste is gonna be a lot less. So you're gonna do the exercise better. And also, aside from that, you're gonna be safer because your body, your concentration is a lot more on the muscles, and your body is a lot more aware of the position it has. When you're just moving around, the risk of injury is a lot higher. But you've got to consider that bringing the leg too much up is also not a good idea. The reason is, by bringing the leg too much high, you are putting the pelvis in a bad position to do this exercise. So when you bring the leg up, you are just putting the pelvis in a posterior tilt, which is gonna just deactivate the lat muscle. Now that was just half the body. We talked about the abs, of course. Make sure they are tight. The chest, if you've got tight chest, make sure you do some stretches to relieve the tension and just be more flexible. Because when you do this exercise, it's better to go through all the range of motion. So if you've got a tight chest or a rounded back, try to do some stretches, not just for this exercise, but overall it's really good to have a nice and balanced posture. But with this exercise especially, it's important because you're gonna be a lot more flexible to do this exercise correctly. Now that was the chest. Let's talk about the shoulder. There are two main things that you can do with your shoulder. The first one is just by holding your shoulder steady and just moving the arm. The second one is by moving the arm and the shoulder both. Now, if you're a beginner and you're new to this exercise or your strength is not that much up, try to just keep your shoulder steady and just move up and down, because moving the shoulder at the same time, so elevating and depressing the shoulder at the same time, is gonna be risky if you do not know how to handle the speed and the force. So basically the difference is when you just keep your shoulder steady and do not move it up and down, so no elevation and depression of the shoulder, you're gonna target a lot more the lat. So the muscles on the side of your back are gonna be targeted a lot more. Also the muscles in this area, so like your rear delt, like your infraspinatus, the muscles in this region are gonna be used more. But when you move the shoulder as well up and down, you're gonna target a lot more the muscles in this area. So in the mid part of your back, there are muscles like rhomboid, like your traps, that really help with the movement of the scapula or your shoulder blade. When you move the shoulder blade and basically your shoulder, you are using those muscles a lot more, and that's a good thing. You're really helping with the posture. But again, because the shoulder is moving up and down, you have to really know what you're doing. So your balance and your stability should be really good. But first, again, if you just started out doing the pull-ups, just keep the shoulder down. Do not force it either. Just make sure you do not move it around a lot. Now let's talk about the elbow. Make sure you do not go all the way straight for two reasons. First one, safety. A lot of people cannot control their speed and they go all the way fast, and it's just gonna hurt them here. The second one is when you go all the way straight, so when you extend the elbow fully, when you're gonna do the exercise for the next rep, you're gonna use a lot more the muscles in this area. So your bicep muscle, your brachialis, your brachioradialis, and the muscles in this region. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that if you're doing this exercise to target your back, which most people do, it's better to just leave a little bit of degree here, so you use your back more. But if you're training for strength or overall fitness, it's alright, but make sure you control everything. So do not do it fast, control it, and then go all the way straight. And we talked about the elbow as well. Let's talk about the hand positioning. There are again two ways that you can grab the bar. First one is by clenching your hand, so squeezing all the way. The second one is by using your hand as a hook. Now again, the first one is good for everybody, but the second one, you should be a little bit professional or know what you're doing to do this like a hook. So the first one, what it does basically, when you go all the way, squeeze it all the way, you're gonna use a lot more biceps. So again, the muscles in this area when you do the exercise, so you're gonna be stronger. But when you use your hand as a hook, Now make sure you do not bring it all the way on the top of your fingers, just as a hook. When you do that, you're gonna use a lot more the muscles in the back. So there's gonna be less bicep involvement and more from the back. So we talked about the hand as well. Neck. I see a lot of people moving the neck when they do this exercise. Make sure you just keep your neck comfortable, but also make sure again you stretch the chest so you can just push your chest forward. The reason is when you are slouched, for you to go all the way up and for you to be able to bring the bar down, it's just subconsciously you might bring your neck back to be able to just move the bar in front of your face, and that can just cause problem with the neck. Now let's talk about the variations. You can go wide, you can go narrow, you can go supinated, you can go pronated. First, let's talk about the width. The wider you go, the outer part of your back you're using more. So when you come narrow, you are using a lot more from the mid part, and when you go wide, you are using more from the side of your back. So there's gonna be more lat involvement, more the muscles in this area when you go wide, and when you go narrow, because your scapula is moving a lot more, there's gonna be a lot more trap involvement, rhomboid involvement, and the muscles in the mid part of your back. Now, of course, when you go wide, you cannot hold your hand in a supinated way because it's just uncomfortable. It's a lot of force, external rotation for the shoulder. It's bad, so make sure when you go wide, it's instinctual, nobody does that, but still I see some people getting advice from unprofessional people and they just hurting their shoulders. So again, just to be 100% sure, make sure you do not supinate and go all the way wide. Now let's talk about supinated and pronated hand positioning. Simply when you go supinated, there's gonna be a lot more involvement from the bicep, and when you pronate, there's gonna be a lot more involvement from the forearm muscles like brachioradialis and also a little bit of brachialis as well. But make sure you play around with it, see how it feels comfortable with you, and make sure you change it from time to time as well. Now let's talk about the band. Most people know how to use the band for this exercise, but the thing is, I see still people making a few mistakes when it comes to the band. Again, for the band, make sure your leg is still forward. So you're gonna grab the band, bring it down. One mistake that I see a lot of people do is they just put one leg on the band. Of course, your weight is getting moved by the band, but when it's just one-sided, you might come to the side as well. So because of that, try to bring both of your legs on the band, and always make sure you check the band. So if, for example, one side is really stretched a lot more than the other side, still the same problem is gonna happen. So make sure you just play with the band, see if it's equal.